Lay down my heart, and I feel the power that you won't. No, you won't. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. I can't make you love me if you don't, Weenie Mushane. You can't make me love you. Nope. You got to decide for yourself. So what's it going to be, boy? Yes or no? What's it going to be, girl? Yes or nah, 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 let me sleep on it. Baby, baby, let me sleep on it. Let me sleep on it. No, just kidding. How you doing, sweetie? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? Oh, not too bad. You want to go out to Country Kitchen after breakfast? Or after the show? Yeah, you mean you go out to Country Kitchen for GOFUNDME, win morning food or breakfast. See how we get into the show? We just start our little banter. Yeah, it's awesome. And then it leads into this. And people think this is just natural and spontaneous, but we actually rehearse this a lot, you guys. Don't lie to the people. All right. Hey, Boozhoo, and welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Boozhoo Nanaboozhoo, the podcast about OJIBWE language and culture. I am Nanaboozhoo. Over here is the lovely and the talented Natasha. Boozhoo! Over here is the not so lovely and not so talented Michael. Hello, everybody. And now, our Ojibwe word of the day. After I say hello to Daniel Black, Boozhoo Niji, and to Grieving Turtle, Boozhoo. I so enjoyed our conversation last night. Gave me a lot to think about, actually. I really started considering a lot of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, today is our, what is today? Thursday? And I thought a good word of the day would be GOFUNDME. You know how we say, Mino Gigajib. Mino Gigajib. Good morning. Well, sometimes morning, if you add food to it, you add an ah. So it's GOFUNDME for the morning win for the morning food. And some of you might be saying, oh yeah, wisani. Doesn't that mean eat? Because everybody's Indian grandma says, Ambe, wisani. Come, eat. What's up with grandmas? They're always trying to make you eat. Do grandmas just think we're skinny? Yeah, probably. But our morning food is our breakfast. GOFUNDME, wisani win. The morning food. And so Natasha and I are thinking about going back to Country Kitchen. We'll get some eggs and hash browns, some coffee, some makare mash kiki wabu, huh? We'll get some of that black medicine water and, have a nice little breakfast. So, and that's all I had for today. I want to thank you all for watching Boozhoo Nanaboozhoo. And I will see you again. GOFUNDME. What are you doing? What? You've been on the air for like 2 minutes. Huh? Oh. Do I have to keep going? I did the word of the day. Yeah, you got to keep going. Say hello to the people. Let's talk about something. Oh, brother. I don't want to talk to these people. The only people I can actually relate to, the only person I can relate to, who's that? Is Jim Dunn. And Jim Dunn's not here. Sweetie, look down at the computer. Oh, what? Hey, Jim Dunn, how's it going? Oh, am I embarrassed? Nah. All right, to review for Jim Dunn, because he's always late. GOFUNDME. GOFUNDME. I can't say that. Wisani win. Morning food. And let me just say to the Boozhoo crew, Mino GOFUNDME. Good morning. We got breakfast on our mind because I'm hungry. Are you really? Yeah, a little bit. I get hungry and then I don't want to make anything to eat. How come? Well, because I retired the toaster. You retired the toaster? What do you mean? It was, I don't know. I kind of forget why, but something happened a while ago, and I know you don't ever make toast, so you didn't notice. But I think I was getting a bunch of crumbs, or maybe I burned something in there once. So I went, the heck with this. And I unplugged it, and I put it kind of in that big drawer in a hamper. And now I can't remember why I did that. I'm thinking, but for some reason I didn't want to throw the toaster away. I'm just like, forget this. I'm not going to have toast anymore. I'm just going to eat bread. And that brings me to my second point today. I can't remember why I don't want to use my toaster. Something happened, and I'm a little neurotic that way. Where, like here's another thing where I'm neurotic. I can't remember how to cook. You never knew how to cook. Oh, is that it? I wondered why. So McWayndam, remember. And Wanendam, forget. What do you remember and what do you forget? We should always remember to say hello to Jessica and Gonzalez. Sweetie, Jessica just stopped in. Huh? Oh, hey. Boozhoo, Jessica. How are you? How you doing, Jess? We're just talking about breakfast and remembering and forgetting. So, I forgot why I decided to store the toaster away, but not throw it away. I don't remember why I did that. And then I forget. Wanendam. Ni Wanendam. I forget. And if you want to say, do you remember? We wrote a song, huh? Yeah. Gimme Gwain day na na. Gimme Gwain day na na. Gi McWayndam. And then to make a question, you had Enna. And then instead of saying Gi McWayne day na na, you can just say Gimme Gwain day na na. Chalk hearts melting on a playground wall. Gimme Gwain day na na. Stone escapes from moonwash college halls. Do you remember a band called Marillion from England? They had a song called Kaylee. I'm still trying to write that love song. Anytime I meet a girl named Kaylee, yeah, like there was a student of mine whose name was Kaylee, I always go, oh, did your mom grow up in the 80s? And did she name you after that song? And the kid, it's happened to me a couple times, and they never know what song I'm talking about. And, oh, it's a beautiful song. It's called Kaylee. And I bet you your mom, there's like that and Rihanna. Rihanna lives like a bear in the street. I met a girl named Rihanna once. I think it was named after a Stevie Nicks song. But, I can't remember. I'm like my grandma this way. I forget names. I forget just dumb stuff, I guess. I don't remember what I forget. This is a problem. But I remember old songs, and I can remember lyrics. If I sing it, I'll never forget it. Grieving Turtle says, I use my grandma's old toaster from the 1930s. Really? It still works? To hold my pot holders. Oh, yeah, okay, he uses that for that. I shove the pot holder into the toast chutes. It's trendy. Yeah. I bet you that stuff from the 30s looks cool, too. They used to have a design sense in the old days. Make everything out of steel or lead, but design it really beautiful. It's just like architecture. You look at a building that was built before 1900. Gorgeous. Columns, pillars, things, just take a look at, your local library, the courthouse, churches. Look at the windows in churches, old churches, stained glass, huge, beautiful, inspiring. And then look at a casino and Walmart. No windows at all. They're like, the heck with this. What do you need windows for? Modern people don't remember. They don't remember how to be classy like the old days. Like the good old days. Like the days of the grandfathers. So today, I would like to tell a story about the good old days, about the days of the grandfathers, about a time before the, 1990s. I'm talking about, of course, the 1980s. Okay, what should I say? I don't really have a story about the 80s, but I can't get it off my mind. I'm like VHS in the 90s. I was talking about the 80s. Do you remember the 80s? You young kids don't even know what VHS is anymore. VHS, is that what it's called? That the alternative to MTV. If you're old, you'll remember a time when MTV stood for music television. For a couple of years, they said, hey, you know what? You know how people love the radio? What if we filmed the rock stars dancing around and singing their songs and doing funny stuff on a video? And then we did nothing but play music that you could watch 24 hours a day. No commercials. You could just turn on the MTV and listen to it like a radio. And then for some reason, everybody got sick of that. I was like, oh, shut up with that. No, I don't want to see Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel again. And so they started putting on game shows and reality TV. And so VH1, that's what it's called, VH1. And so VH1 says, oh, you know what? We're going to play some videos from the 80s. And for a couple of years, they did that too. And VH1 created some popular people. What's that lady that Donald Trump was always picking on? When they said, you call women pigs or whatever, and he goes, only Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell got her start on VH1. Is Rosie O'Donnell still doing stuff? I don't know. I don't really watch TV anymore. Yeah. So Rosie O'Donnell, who else was on VH1? Some other people. But yeah, when I think about, remembering, where do memories live? Is it in your brain? Musicians will tell you that there's muscle memory. Lots of times, like if I'm playing guitar, I'll be like, how's that song go? And I won't know it until I start playing it. And then I'll know the whole song. And I'll play the whole thing without a problem at all. And maybe it's a song I haven't even played in years. I'll go, and I'll get the first couple of notes. I'll go, oh yeah, that's right. And then I'll know all the chords and I'll know all the lyrics. And I go, how come I'm so good at remembering, where to put the chords and dumb lyrics, but I can't remember, where I live? Nah. Or can't remember where I parked the car. You guys ever do that? You come out of a store and you're like, let's see. I got car keys, so I must have drove here. You're looking around. You're trying to remember. But then I heard once, this was sort of funny. They said being able to forget is really important. If we couldn't forget, then every time we left a store, we'd have total recall of every time we ever parked there. And it would be impossible to tell if what you were remembering or whatever was from today or from 10 years ago. And so you'd have like a million options every time you go, oh. So forgetting is very important. And I also think that people with post-traumatic stress disorder, they'll tell you, yeah, I wish I could forget. If you give me a pill just to forget the Gulf War, I would do that. But it can get stuck in, I guess, your brain. I don't know. Because aren't there memories? They also say, like, if you, your sense of smell can make you remember really well. Sometimes you'll smell something and then just be taken back in time and you'll go, oh, Oh, that reminds me. That's what the high school library smelled like. Or, oh, that's what, you'll remember a person's perfume or whatever. Is that what it's called? Do women still wear perfume? Cologne? Whatever. Jessica says, I thought everyone loved music videos. I know I did. And then they introduced all these stupid reality shows on MTV instead. Yeah, I know. Did the Kardashians get started on MTV? I don't know. Weesenie. Hey, Boozhoo, Weesenie. Weesenie says, that was the hook. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they got us in with the music. Because I did too, actually. Especially when I was a teenager. I remember the first time I saw a Kiss video. I still have that memory. Because I'd never seen them move. I'd only seen frozen pictures. And I had all these posters in my room. I'm a little guy, and I would stay up until midnight. This is before MTV. It was a Saturday nights at midnight. They had the midnight special. And they would have all these music acts and videos. And sure enough, one night, they were going to have a Kiss video. I was made for loving you. And so I stayed up. And you also have to remember, McWayndam, that in the old days, everybody was kind of on a clock. You woke up at around 6 and you went to bed around 10. And, TV went off at like 1 in the morning and came back on at like 5. So people went to bed, but I didn't. My whole family would be asleep in the house and I'd stay up. And it seemed like a big deal to try to stay up till midnight, and finally that I Was Made for Loving You came out, and it blew my mind. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I don't know, this isn't that good of a story. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. But where was I going with this? Yeah, I don't know. Trying to remember stuff, forgetting stuff. Sometimes I forget what I'm talking about as I'm saying it. Wanendam. McWendam? Wanendam. They're related. Gimmick Wayne. Weesenie says, my Nokomis's kitchen when I was smell chorizo and tamarind. Chorizo, those are probably cooking words. The building doesn't exist anymore, but I'm still transported there in the instance of a whiff. Yeah, that's really true. There's certain smells in like the fall I'll smell, and I'll remember like starting school or being in football practice. And it's weird because it's not always stuff that you necessarily value the most. Sometimes you'll be made to remember something just very trivial, and you go, why? But it's still kind of a treat to go, oh yeah, that's right, I hadn't thought of that in so long. I forgot all about that song by Olivia Newton-John. Remember Olivia Newton-John? Sorta. She was in that show with John Travolta. You better shape up, 'cause I need a man. And my heart is set on you. And my heart is set on you. You better shape up. You better do. La la la. I can't remember the words. Yeah, that's, you forget the words. Jessica says, oh yes, the smell of my grandma's apartment building in the Bronx. Or my mama and Papito's apartment also in the Bronx. I remember every smell there. Their soap, the Cuban espresso, the laundry smell. Yeah. Oh, I had a smell memory once. I borrowed a space heater. I stole a space heater from my uncle. Or I just took one of the old ones that was sitting around. And I turned it on, and suddenly it smelled like wild rice. I went, oh, that's right. He used to dry out his rice. My uncle and auntie were big ricers. And it'd get just, bags of rice. and they'd have to pour it out onto the floor and then dry it out. And they'd use a space heater. Well, after many years of doing that, like rice got into the little space heater or something. But it made my whole house smell like wild rice. So my buddy comes over and he's like, "Oh, wow, you cooking something?" Like, yeah, I'm making wild rice in my space heater, I guess. But I was transported to that cabin that they would dry the rice out in. And then, a million memories come flooding with it. When I was a little guy, I used to go to this summer camp. And had a lot of memories there, And then I didn't go, or I got old, But I still remember the last time I went to that summer camp. And so 20 years goes by, and I decided to go back one day. And it wasn't during the camping season, so I just rode my bike out there and walked up. And I went to the cabins, and there was a groundskeeper there. And I went, "Hey, how you doing? I used to camp here. Do you mind if I, just look around?" And she goes, "Yeah, go ahead. We were just cleaning up for this year's campers." And then she goes, "Yeah, we haven't had camp here in 20 years. I went, "What, really?" And then I realized that my last year was the last year they did it. So when I went into the cabins, nothing had changed. It was the same mattresses that we had 20 years ago. And these cabins weren't, they weren't winterized or anything. They were basically just sheds. So it wasn't even that mildewy or anything in there. But I walked in, and then suddenly it was like I was 11 again. I was like, "What?" And I laid down on my bunk, which was still in the same spot. And the pine wood and the musty, the mattresses were musty even back in the day. But the musty mattress, and I laid there, and it didn't make me sad or anything, but I don't know, it was wild. It took me back. I remember being a kid, and like my buddy Lenny would say, "Come on, man, let's go make some memories." And it usually meant let's go get into some trouble. But what are you going to remember? And what will you forget? For some people, it gets really tough when they lose someone and they can't remember stuff. They're like, "I don't remember what her voice sounded like anymore." I can't remember something. I can't remember. I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown. Daniel Black says, "You do the stories. I'll announce the latecomers." Okay. Brandy Marie, Daniel, Mino, Giga, Jabe. Make yourself useful, Daniel. So, yeah. But, one thing I do remember is how all my elders, as I was growing up, said the same thing about remembering the good old days and how you spend more time looking back. And it's a weird, in fact, they say in midlife, in middle age, it's like you're walking through a door. How does that work? See, I forget. I don't remember what the point was. You're walking through a door. Anyway, the first half of your life, you're looking forward. And the second half, you're looking back. And I don't know. I guess that's good. What do you think, sweetie?
I think it's good. I mean, to remember stuff adds like richness in your life. And it can help you like kind of understand what's going on now. You don't want to forget stuff.
Yeah. Well, how about this? People have different memories about the same thing. Oh, we can get into the whole Mandela effect. You know about the Mandela effect?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So Mandela effect is that a bunch of people at around in like 2012 or something all started reporting that they had similar false memories. And they have to be called false memories because now what people think in this reality, what you're remembering never existed. You know, she never said in any cartoon we ever saw, they didn't change it. She never said, mirror, mirror on the wall. Everybody remembers, no, some people, half the people remembered mirror, mirror on the wall. And then you look at that cartoon and you go, what? Magic mirror on the wall? That sounds weird. And then for some people, they go, oh, wait, that's right. Why did I think it was mirror, mirror? Now I remember it was magic mirror. And the whole premise is based on Nelson Mandela. Like a lot of people, when he died, they went, what? He's still alive? What was with that big old funeral they had with all the celebrities? And I barely remembered that. I didn't really pay attention to Nelson Mandela or anything outside of my, sphere of one block in those days. So I didn't have that false memory. But Berenstain and Berenstain Bears. That was a big one that a lot of people shared because everyone had those books. And I remember thinking it was Berenstain, like Frankenstein. I had a definite memory that it was the Berenstain Bears. And now every book it says Berenstain. I think that's how it goes. And there's a whole bunch of those. Well, Mom always said life is like a box of chocolates. It doesn't say life was like a box of chocolates. Or no, that's the way it says now. If you watch Forrest Gump, you'll say, Mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. And everyone says, I thought he said life is like a box of chocolates. It's been changed. And like, who cares? But there's hundreds of these things. If you build it, he will come, is what it is now. I kind of remember, because it was kind of a thing that they said. If you build it, they will come. Meaning the baseball players. Not he. But now you can go, oh, okay, so maybe that meant his dad. Okay. But it's just a weird phenomenon. Grieving Turtle says, the opposite of remembering is dismembering thoughts. Dismembering thoughts. So is that different than forgetting? I've just dismembered my thoughts. Yeah, it sort of is the opposite. Because remember, it's like you went back and became a member of that. And the opposite of that would be to take it apart and dismember it. So I don't know. Sometimes you ever have this experience where you think something was really great in the past because you remember it being better than it is. And you go, oh yeah, I thought that was really funny. I remember that being funny. Kind of like every Steve Martin movie. I remember him being better, and I watch it now and go, oh, The Jerk isn't really that funny. I just remember I laughed so hard when I saw it. I don't need anything except this table and this lamp. I don't need nothing at all except this ping pong paddle. And he picks up, cracking me up forever. And then you watch it again and go, yeah, okay. Why did I think that was so funny? So I try not to recommend movies anymore. Like, some stuff you'll just not remember it being so racist. Like Blazing Saddles. You go, why did I think that was funny? The Goonies, yeah. Stuff you think was a really good scary movie when you're a kid, and you watch it as a grown up and you go, what? All member berries. Member? Yeah. I guess that's what really defines me as a Gen Xer. Is I'm constantly remembering my past, wanting to bring up the good old days. And it seems like now everything went crazy. I just saw a video with Caitlyn Jenner, And he was dressed up in a big red demon outfit, singing on stage, just the worst singer I'd ever seen. And everyone's cheering for him, and I'm like, I remember when that guy was on the Wheaties box, and he was a hero to everybody. He was the greatest athlete in the world at that time. And, he was kind of the standard for being a good athlete when I was a little kid. He wore like the red, white, and blue shorts or something like Rocky. And now I was like, oh man, I remember a time when you didn't have to pretend you weren't utterly disgusted by something. Let's see, what else do I remember? I remember we used to love Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, I forgot how great they were until I saw Do You Remember? La la da 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 num num. How about I remember the time we fell in love. Do you remember 21st of September? Oh, is that the lyric? Love was changing the mind. Yeah. So, memories. I remember watching my grandmother. She would just really enjoy connecting with people from the old days, because it was somebody else who could confirm that her memories were true. And they would spend the whole afternoon just remembering stuff. Hey, remember how, and they would laugh and enjoy. Badia say, do you remember? Badia dancing in September. Never was a cloudy day. La da 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 da. Da 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 da. Yeah, I don't know the lyrics. Yeah. Memories. Sweet, as I go. Sweet watercolored memories. From the pages of my mind. Memories. Da 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 da. What?
Nothing, I'm just listening.
Yeah. One and them. Forget about it. So, yeah. I remember when we used to sit. So, let's shift gears a little bit here. I wanted to talk about this yesterday. Where am I? This is the medicine wheel. The Mushkiki de Tibisade. This is me sliding over. So, I don't know if these colors in the right place. And that yellow looks kind of muddy. But I drew this, and this is the medicine wheel. And Boozhoo crew, I know you know all about this, and so I don't mean to talk down to you. But for the young people who are going to watch this later, Boozhoo, young people, I remember being your age. And when I was your age, we had long hair in the back, but we cut it short over the ears. And then you cut it short on top so it'd stand up, and you'd have spiky hair if you were a boy. And I also remember that hairspray was really important to making a woman feel and look beautiful. Because I remember when women had Lyons manes for hair. Big old curly things that would shape, their heads, or frame their heads. But anyway, so young people, the medicine wheel is a sacred symbol. And actually the circle is a sacred symbol. This morning's show is turning into kind of a talking circle. In the Anishinaabe way, in the ways of the grandfathers, everything was in a circle. There's a powwow circle, there's a medicine wheel, there's a conversation circle, there's the circle of the earth. all kinds of circles. And so sometimes what we like to do is we talk about our life like a circle. And we have this medicine wheel. So today I just want to do a check-in. Sometimes our little crew here, we just kind of get together to touch base and have some makare mashkiki wabu, some coffee together. Speaking of which, I'm all out of coffee here, sweetie. Would you mind giving me a cup?
Yeah, sure.
And so we get together and we kind of, mostly they just talk to me, whine around. But if you're ever, it's sometimes good just to do a physical, sometimes. My elder taught me you should do this every day. And I don't do it every day. But once in a while, I use the old medicine wheel to check in on myself. So I'm going to ask you. Let's do this together. Medicine wheels talks about fours. Everything is in fours. 4 seasons, earth, wind, fire, and what's the fourth one? Earth, wind, fire, and water. There's 4 elements. There's 4 seasons, 4 stages of life, 4 directions. Everything's 4s. And one of the 4s is that we are divided into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Some people say, we're body, mind, and spirit. It's like, yeah, kind of, except your emotions aren't just in your mind. And these all overlap, by the way. So let's just check in. I'm going to ask you, and you don't have to write this down, or you can if you want to. But think to yourself, sometimes I'll write down, okay, physically, how am I doing physically? Well, pretty good, I got to say. I'm not sick. I have a little bit of allergies this time of year, so I get a little phlegmy. But, I've been sleeping well, been eating pretty healthy. I don't drink anymore, so I'm never hungover. And I give myself I could exercise more. I started walking this week, but got all sore because I've just been sitting on my fat butt for months. And but give yourself a 1 to 10. How are you doing physically? If it's under a 6, that means you're sick. If you're let's say you got cancer, that's a 1 or 2. But let's say you're not quite at the weight you want to be. Let's say you're 10 pounds overweight. And, you haven't had a vegetable in a week. Give yourself 10 is perfect. Diet, exercise, sleep. Think about that. And if it's low, just leave it there. Don't judge it. Just go, okay. When I come back around, I'm going to make a plan on how to raise that number. Then you get to mental. How mental are you? And this doesn't mean how crazy are you. This is what's going on mentally. What's in your brain? What do you think about? Do you remember good times? Or can you not forget this bad thing that happened? Sometimes people don't like to remember their childhood because it was too tough. It was too much heartbreak. But they can't stop thinking about it. They can only focus on all the bad stuff. And I've been there. Sometimes your brain just doesn't want to leave you alone. They go, hey, remember that time when that bad thing happened to you? Wasn't that painful? You're like, brain, would you cut it out? But write down the kind of things you think about. And be honest with yourself. If you're fantasizing, like when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of comic books. And I would draw a lot of fight scenes and, watch whatever. And so sometimes I'd be on a walk and just trying to kill time. And so I just fantasize battle scenes. Fantasize about beating up my coach. Fantasize about, everyone got freaked out by these Columbine shooters and all these school shootings. Talking about, the kids have gone crazy. And I'm like, no, we've always been crazy. Every kid has a fantasy about coming into school and shooting up the place, blowing up the school, fighting, killing their teachers. Sometimes when you're an angsty teenager, you're going to go, you know what I'd like to do one day? Just blow up this whole school. And you don't do it because you're not crazy, but, a A lot of kids can understand. Yeah, I understand that. But anyway, so I used to have these images in my head of just fighting, karate moves or whatever, Spider-Man moves. But that was in my head a lot. And if you can be aware of it, then you can kind of do something about it. Mentally, and then you also have to think, like, how is my mind? Am I all scattered? Does my mind constantly... You ever have this where you're mad at somebody and you have a fantasy about what you should have said or what you will say next time, and you act it out, and you're like driving down the road going, oh, why didn't I say that? If I could go back and do it over, I would say this thing. Well, just be aware that you're having these fantasies in your head. The argument's over, but you're still living it. And sometimes they say that your brain can't tell the difference between what it imagines and what it sees. So if you're imagining, like in your head, okay, boys, you know this. If you picture a beautiful girl in your head, your body will sometimes respond as though you're looking at that beautiful girl. And you'll go, she's not even here. And yet I'm all ready to, and so the brain, just what's in there, what you're picturing, you might as well be looking at it. It's like it's happening right now. And so like soldiers who come back from war, they can get an imprint in their mind. And mentally they're remembering, replaying all these horrible things. And it takes a lot of work to forget. With my grandpa, 50 years after the fact, he would have nightmares. My grandma would have to like hold him down on the bed, try to wake him up. He'd be thrashing around, fighting Japanese. And, but so write down what you think about. And then give it a number. If you like what you think about, if you're always thinking about creative thoughts and remembering the good times, making plans, having fantasies of amazing, cool things, if your mind is in a good place, give it a 10. If you're like a lot of people, and I'm not going to say if it's me or not. Well, probably me when I was a kid, we didn't have the internet, so. But for a lot of people, they fill their minds with nasty not YouTube, but just nasty videos, nasty websites. And remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between looking at something that's real and imagining sometimes. Or video games. A lot of video games are first-person shooter. And so is your mind when you're not playing that video game. Is it pretending to be walking around the streets, shooting people from the gun's point of view? And is that good? If you're just picturing violence and sex all the time, I don't know. I'd probably give myself a lower number. But maybe somebody else would argue, no, that's good. You should think about that so you're ready or something. No, give yourself a low number. And then emotional. All right, kids, what's an emotion? Sometimes I've gone to schools and I'll be teaching the OJIBWE words for different feelings. And I'll go, who can tell me? And I won't even say in OJIBWE. I'll just say, how many feelings can you name? And the kids will go, happy, sad, mad. And they'll stop. Or they'll come up with other words for the same ones. Joyful. It's like, no, that's happy. Angry. It's kind of mad. And so I'll have to almost teach them, like, no, there's more emotions than that. How about fear? Even when you've ever been afraid, that's an emotion. How about jealousy? How about, a lot of stuff. And throughout the day, your emotions are sometimes a roller coaster. You can go up and then down and up and down. Sometimes your memories, a smell, will change your emotions immediately. And so write down what emotions you're currently feeling as you're making your medicine wheel. And you go, okay, how do I feel right now? Bored. Is bored an emotion? Yeah, kind of. We know what we're talking about. I feel bored. But sometimes I think boredom is, I feel anxious. I don't like just sitting here. I'm not satisfied. Oh, I'm bored. Like, are you bored or are you nervous? But nervous is another one. Get in touch with it. Figure out what are your emotions and give it a number. Whatever your system is, that's fine. So, let's say you got physical, you're at an 8. Mentally, you give yourself a 7. Emotionally, you give yourself an 8. Now we come to the difficult one. Your spiritual side. What is your spiritual side? What does that even mean? Oh, I'm so spiritual. Look, I've got a yin-yang necklace. I must be really spiritual. Oh, I meditated this morning. I sat in an Indian style. And I closed my eyes and I counted my breaths and I didn't think about anything for 20 minutes. Namaste. I'm so spiritual. But what your spiritual is anything that's not material. So, like Madonna. I remember when I was a kid, there was a song. I can only think of the Police song now. We are spirits in a material girl. Anyway, she's terrible. Madonna sang about being a material girl. So material is like cars and money and bodies and trees and anything you can touch and hold in your hand and feel. Those are all material things. But spiritual is everything else. Love, hate, intuition. How about inspiration? Where do good ideas come from? Where does sometimes you just come up. How about this? A lot of kids can relate to this. Do you ever say something really funny at just the right time? You make everybody in the classroom crack up, and your timing was just perfect. I remember my friend Mark one time in the 8th grade. The teacher was trying to teach us about stocks or something, and he mentioned the term stockbroker. And my friend Mark goes, yeah, it's a stockbroker is because they call him a broker because when you give him your money, you end up broker than you were before. And the teacher it tickled on me. He started cracking up. And the whole class didn't crack up, but the teacher really did. And he was just sort of inspired with a funny line. I mean, that's not a good example, but everyone knows that once in a while, it's like we hear a little voice to tell us to say something or don't do something, or just helping us along. That's your spirit. I think that's Gitche Manado speaking to you. Crazy coincidences. Why are you friends with somebody? Do they earn your friendship, or was there something spiritual that happened that connected you with that person? But sometimes people have lost touch with their spiritual life. They don't like music. They don't care to dream. They're not interested in non-material things. They only want to do their job, buy stuff, have stuff. Stuff is material. You can be any religion and be spiritual. You don't have to, follow one path. But let's say all you care about is you're easily advertised to. You really want the latest Nike shoe. Oh, look at this, Lil Nas X Nike shoe. It's got actual blood in the shoe. Yeah, okay, that's material. I mean, there's something probably negatively spiritual about that too. But so let's say you give yourself a 5 spiritually. You go, you know what? I haven't had a spiritual experience, or just a walk in nature. Okay, here's another little angle of spirituality. This just occurred to me, so I think spiritually somebody told me this. You know how we were talking about smells? Well, the smell is a physical thing. And it elicits a memory, which may be a mental thing. You're picturing being at summer camp or whatever. And that can bring up an emotion. Oh, remember those days? And it can be sad sometimes. It goes sweet. And, oh, so long ago and so much has happened. And, and then the whole thing becomes a spiritual experience. You're transported. You were given a little message from GOFUNDME. In a way, I've heard it said that everything is spiritual. Even material stuff is spiritual. That the Great Spirit is in everything. So nothing is not of spirit. The whole game is one big spiritual game. But people have really kind of forgotten about that. Or it's been corrupted or something. We don't like to, I don't think most pastors in that really understand anymore either. There's a spiritual thing going on right now, I think. How it seems like, I was talking about this with a friend last night. And, the world's been divided in twos. And the reality will show you, it's kind of like that movie I never saw, Event Horizon, where everybody had a different experience with something unique to them. And it was absolutely true. Reality will show you what you either need or want to see. And it's different. For some people, they can't see any evidence of a pandemic. They just go, where are all the sick people? When I heard about the bubonic plague and whatever pandemic, I picture people falling over in the street, hospitals being filled. We'd have more funerals than usual. There'd be a line, And so those people go, no, there's no pandemic. Show me a pandemic. I don't know anybody who's died from this. And I don't know anybody who knows anybody who's died from this. I know a lot of people who claim that they had it, the flu or something. And I've heard news stories that millions of people are keeling over. And then for the other people, they go, what are you, out of your mind? Yes, there's daily, hourly updates. And I personally have died from COVID twice. Or whatever. The reality will show them they're not being jerks. But their reality has actually showed them, yeah, this is true. Racism. In my reality, people get mad at me when I say this, but I just don't see it. I've never actually experienced it myself. I've had people tell me that, oh no, that guy doesn't like you because he doesn't like Indians. And I go, really? But there's no way to know what's in his heart. But in my town, in my experience, and with my whatever, for whatever reason, being Native has been a privilege. I get all kinds of privileges for being Native. Jobs, people, this show. White people I've met in Bemidji when they hear about what I do are so supportive. There's no backlash from the non-Indian community about teaching Ojibwe in schools. Hold on a sec here. So sometimes I go, how come everyone's talking about racism? Where is it going on? In the cities? Down south? I don't know. But then I don't want to claim that it's not real, because there's a lot of people who daily are walking around going, yeah, no, this is a totally racist country. And always has been, and still is, and I'm not going to tell them that they're wrong. Like a good friend of mine just yesterday put up a thing says, "Stop Asian hate." And I'm like, well, that's a tall order. How am I going to do that? And I went, who hates Asians? I mean, my grandpa was kind of he was a little racist against the Japanese, called them the Japs. But, there weren't any Japanese people in our town. So I never saw, like, get out of my store, you dirty Asian person. Like, oh, is that a thing? Oh, yeah, that's right. They're being discriminated against in colleges. There is racism. I hear what you're saying. Harvard doesn't want to let in too many Asians are like acing the entrance exams. They're like, come on, man, there's way too many Asians here. So they get discriminated against. But I don't think that's hate. I just think that's, those guys trying to get a more diverse student body, racial diverse. So it's systemic racism to discriminate based on race. Yeah, okay. So I guess that's real. But, I just don't see it. Feminism. Some people really think women have a hard time. Oh, it's not easy being a woman. We live in a rape culture. This whole culture loves to rape. Rapity rape. I'm like, what? Really? Because when I talk to my friends, and some of my friends are just real, beer drinking, just no nonsense guys, they want the death penalty for rape. They don't even want a trial. They're, oh yeah, somebody rapes. I think we should just, justice. If that happened to my daughter, I'd just kill the guy. I wouldn't call the cops. I'd just get my gun and I'd go over there and I'd put a bullet in his head. And everybody 100% agree. Yeah, it's a good idea. I almost want the opportunity to kill a rapist. There's nobody going, come on, man, it's part of our culture. That's the white man trying to oppress us. This is a rape culture. It's like, no, it's not. It's the worst thing that most of us can even think of. We're not tolerant of that. But a lot of women are going, no. I have to be scared all the time. So you do? I'll take a gun. No! That's even worse. Guns make everybody more dangerous. And guns are killing everybody. And the same thing. Oh, is it? Wait, so it's more dangerous to have a gun than not have one? Is it more dangerous to have a sword than not have one? I guess you could cut yourself. But there's two realities. And so I think my original point of all this is that there's a spiritual something going on that everyone's noticing. Something's happening in the world today. I don't know what it is. But if you're not happy, then it comes back to this. You might be out of balance. And all you need is one of these things not to be in good order. So let's say you're at 10 physically. You're in great shape and everything's wonderful. And your mental capacity is awesome. You think about just the right stuff and you're reading poetry and, memorizing times tables or whatever. And then, sorry about that noise. I keep kicking the microphone. Then emotionally, you're just happy, grateful, peaceful. But spiritually, you got nothing. You're not going to be happy. Or sometimes you can just find the root cause. You think, oh, I'm so mad because I live in a rape culture. But what it is that physically, you're not getting enough exercise. It's amazing, like sometimes if you can, lose 10 pounds and eat a, kale shake. I'm speaking from experience here. The world will seem better. You'll suddenly go, oh yeah, why did I think everybody hated me? I went through a phase where I thought America just hated Indians. It's like, yep, they hate us. They want us dead. This country was founded on killing Indians, and they just hate us. We're the most hated group in the world. And then, I lost some weight, quit drinking, got on a diet. And pretty soon I'm going, actually, you know what? Doesn't everybody want to be an Indian? Remember those hippies? McWayne didn't oh, they're braiding their hair and going along. And didn't Dances with Wolves win like the Academy Award? And, don't most Cherokee people, no matter how little Indian they are, bring that up right away? It's, oh yeah, my grandmother's Cherokee princess. So you go, am I going crazy? Or is there a spiritual thing going on that reality isn't real? It's showing you something different than somebody else. You find the evidence you need for the idea you already have. I don't know. What I do know is I better go check in on a group here. My parents are pissed. Lisa Nee, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm going to go back a little bit here. Boy, you guys are really talking up. Boredom is a choice, says Lisa Nee. Yeah, sometimes I've said it before. I've never been bored. I've had anxiety, and I felt trapped, and I've had depression. Every job I had, I would have said is boring. Driving in a car for 6 hours, I say is boring. What I mean is, I'm physically all cramped up, and I'm depressed, and I'm nervous, scared. It's not boring. I want it to stop because I get nervous driving in a car, and I get uncomfortable, and whatever. Wisini says, at least that's what my Abula told me. Abuelo. You're Abulelo. Yeah, if you're Abulelo, I don't know what that word means. I agree with your Abuelo. Yeah, sounds like a very wise Abuelo. Wisini, where are you from? Okay, you guys are talking to each other. I think we need to remember the music from the Bob Newhart show in this therapy session. Howard Bourdain syndrome is real. Yep, we're back in the therapy session, Grieving Turtle. How to get out of your funk. Sometimes the funk is what you need. So, yeah, that's another thing. Spiritually, think about your soul. This is for the kids. When they say something has a lot of soul, that's that part you can't. It's not physical. If like the song "Purple Rain" has a lot of soul. Purple rain, purple rain. It almost sounds like a hymn sometimes. It almost sounds like a spiritual. And there's a physical aspect to that song. You gotta play it. You gotta sing it. It's emotional. It's mental. It's a pretty clever lyrics in that. But it's the spiritual part that made it timeless. Okay, now I'm not making any sense. You want to get up here, sweetie?
Sure. Do you want to play that video first?
We're already over time.
Just play a little bit of it, and then I'll get up there.
All right. So, there's a song that Natasha leads on, and it's a song from the old days. That's emotional and spiritual. This is a song by Bonnie Raitt, and it's called I Can't Make You Love Me If You Don't. It's kind of about, if you've ever been there, you get a crush on somebody. And, okay, this is my last word on this subject. So I can't make you love me if you don't. Have you ever been in love with somebody and they don't love you back? And you're crying around, you don't want to understand it, why? Look at it through the medicine wheel. Physically, your body's aching for this person. Sometimes it may be just a physical attraction. And that's important, by the way. You are a body. There's something, your body, you're going to like a certain gender of the two that exist. I happen to be attracted to dark females, huh, sweetie?
Yeah, you are.
And so, I can't make you love me. Maybe she's physically not attracted to you. Or maybe mentally. You ever connect with somebody and you're just on the same page and you just speak so freely and mentally are connected. It's like, yep, I know exactly like what you're talking about. Or we just don't connect. Some people just can't get with you. This show could be just ridiculous to a lot of people. What are these guys talking about? It's stupid. Emotionally, you can have these strong, powerful emotions because you believe, because you're so physically attracted, that just to see them makes you happy, but to not be with them makes you sad. Physical, mental. But it's the spiritual part. How did that person even get into your life? Sometimes there's this weird coincidence where it almost seems like the Great Spirit wanted you to go down this path, to bump into this person, to have this experience. Maybe you're supposed to affect their life. Maybe they're supposed to affect yours. That's why these relationships, it's so hard to talk about. But one thing we can all kind of agree on is like, yeah, they are important, I guess. Otherwise, they wouldn't be the main points of my memories or the relationships I had. And it comes back really down to it. My friendships were, in fact, more important than my jobs. Because I don't remember certain jobs. Like, oh, that's right, I used to work there. What year? I have no idea. But you remember your friendships and your relationships and your loves and stuff. So it can be heartbreaking when it doesn't connect. When you love somebody, but they don't love you back. And you can even be in a relationship with that person, but they don't love you. And there's not a darn thing you can do. I can't make you love me if you don't. I can't make you.
Turn down the bed, turn down these voices inside my head. Lay down with me, tell me no lies. Just hold me closely and don't patronize. Don't patronize me. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. You can make your heart feel something it won't. Here in the dark, in these final hours, I will lay down my heart. I feel the power that you don't. No, you won't. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. If you don't. I'll close my eyes, then I won't see the love you don't feel when you're holding me. Morning will come, I'll do what's right. Just hold me, baby, and I'll give up the fight. And I will give up this fight. Oh, 'cause I can't make you love me if you don't. You can make your heart feel something it won't. Here in the dark, in these final hours, I will lay down my heart. And I feel the power that you won't. No, you won't. can't make you love me if you don't. If you don't. If you don't. If you don't. I'm so sorry, you guys. So, all right. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. I forgot to. I hate it when I don't put on the sound. Hey, you guys. Before we sign out for today, we got a couple of requests to start the show a little bit later. So I'm thinking, tomorrow we're gonna start at. Let's say 8 o'clock Central Time. So, Central Minnesota time. Like, right now in my world, it's 7:10 a.m. So, tomorrow, we'll start in like 1 hour from now. Does that make any sense?
I think you just made it confusing.
Tomorrow, we'll be starting the show at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to say Boozhoo to the Boozhoo crew this morning. To Jessica and Weesany and, Daniel Black, Jim Dunn, of course, Grieving Turtle, of course. You guys are just the best. I just love you guys so much. So, having said that, we'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock. And, you know what I might do tomorrow?
What's that?
I think I might just take over.
You want to take over?
Or at least start the show. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because sometimes we run out of time and then I don't even get to say anything.
Yeah, I know. Okay, tomorrow for sure, I'll let you start the show. And we'll make sure that we keep the audio on and stuff.
Yeah, okay. All right, you guys. Well, hey, miigwech egg. Thank you for listening. Miigwech egg. Thank you for watching. Boozhoo Nanaboozhoo. And I will see you again. GOFUNDME. Minowa. Oh, I can't make you love me if you don't. You can't end the live stream with something it won't.